recorded those vocals. That was me.
Lies.
Could be. Could have been me. Maybe. Possibly.
Possibly.
Well,
You could do it. I believe in you.
I don't think so. It's a little high for me. I'd have to do a little voice changing. But yeah, I get.
No.
Yeah. Not what I used to be. I'm like 2 steps lower now. Chemo took it from me. Sucked me.
Little lemon water.
Yeah.
Little vocal practice.
A little warm. Yeah, I'd have to work. Well, how you doing? How's your week?
I'm good. A little sleepy, but I'm making it.
Yeah?
Yep. How about you?
I'm all right, Mom. I think I guess it's been what? Has it been 2 weeks? Or maybe this is my first full week. It's been like 10 days since I started chemo. So I can feel like a few things, on the down slope.
Been a little slower.
Yes. Much more fatigued and all those cool things. But, this isn't that intense. So
not as bad.
Yeah. Doctor says labs came back good Monday. So I'm happy. No transfusions.
Good.
No
transfusions. None for me either.
Good. Yeah. I think there's enough of me to go around, Yeah. Yeah.
Well, welcome back to Sunny Days. Here we are.
Yes. We didn't. It's
okay. I took it from you this time.
You did good. I totally forgot. I just got right into it. Yeah. Sunny Days. I guess I should start doing that.
That's okay. Yeah. Well, we'll get into it because we've got, what do we got next?
Today's the big day. We're about to, as far as topic, we're getting into it, right? Getting into the cancer stuff, letting people know kind of the story, a little bit more of the nitty gritty. C Day. Yep. That's what I go. I refer to my friends. I have BC, and then I have
cancer.
Before cancer, AC.
After cancer.
Hopefully, and then DC
during
cancer. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like how we referred to it. So, yeah, I say we dive into it. But first, we have to always. Would you rather?
All right. Today's questions. The first one's going to be kind of hard.
Why?
Well, maybe not.
Okay.
I think I know which one you'll pick.
Okay.
I know which one I'll pick. Okay.
Let's do it.
Would you rather give up caffeine or give up alcohol for the rest of your life?
I'd give up caffeine.
Would you? I'm surprised. So.
I guess. I mean, honestly, I say that. We don't like drink a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't consider us like heavy drinkers or anything.
Well,
like
especially now.
Right. I'm trying to refer to like before, but I don't like, and that's like right now, not drinking. I can't, I'm not supposed to drink. I've had a few beers. I'm not going to lie, but like.
Well, you did ask your doctor and he was
cool. Yeah.
Once in a while when you're feeling good.
Yeah. But
you don't really want to.
No. Yeah. I don't like not being able to like hang out. And, if I want to have an adult beverage, it sucks. Whereas caffeine, it's like, I like coffee and I drink it because I like it, not because I don't do it specifically for the caffeine, I don't think. Yeah.
I would give up alcohol.
Yeah, you don't drink much anyway.
I want the caffeine. You're like, I don't think about it. That's all. Yeah. I wake up and I'm like, how can I get some caffeine today?
I don't.
Yesterday I had no coffee, no matcha, and I didn't get to go to the gym.
So you're kind of dependent though, it seems.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm dependent. I just knew I needed a boost. And I took a little hit of some pre-workout.
We can do
took a little happy.
B12. We can do a little B12 instead of caffeine. Maybe some.
Threw it back.
Cocaine.
Ooh.
It just seems like there's.
That's a joke, people. That's a joke. Okay, next.
All right, the next one. Hold on, wait. I want to do it again. I'm not going to say it. I just want to.
Would you rather? It feels like a copyright. I don't think I should do it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Would you rather fight a chicken to the death every time you had to get in your car, or fight a chimpanzee once a year, but you get to use a sword?
That's a good. The thing about, chimps are kind of strong. Like,
yeah.
I think the winning battle, I'm going to have to fight the chicken because I think I can beat the chicken. And
every day.
Oh, that sucks.
Every day you have
you're saying the chimps once a year.
The chimps once a year and you get to use a sword.
So I could prepare for the chimp.
And the chicken is every day.
Yeah,
you could train.
That changes it.
You could train for
like
the chimp.
Train.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that sucks. So you're killing the chimpanzee.
I don't really like monkeys, so
you're doing the chimp.
I'm doing the chimp. I'm gonna train. I'm gonna learn to sword fight, and I'm stabbing that thing.
Okay, I'll do chimp with you. I mean, it's just that seems very like a little. I don't know, man. It feels like you're killing like a baby human. You can do the chicken.
Every day they ick me out. Yeah. So I mean, I get your perspective because lots of people probably feel that way. But
I'm gonna kill the chicken. We can give the chicken away for food. I'm doing chicken.
Okay. I'll come up. Elijah would probably agree with you. He loves some chicken.
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 We keep Chick-fil-A in business.
Mm-hmm. And Zaxby's and
any chicken.
Gus's, and we had a lot of Gus's in the hospital.
Oof, it sounds good. We should do that today. It is Good Friday. Good Friday.
What does that mean?
Good chicken.
Okay.
The Lord,
I don't know how that goes with chicken.
Yeah,
but okay.
I think, Last Supper type vibes. I'm sure Gus's would have been fire.
Fire.
While Judas was betraying him.
Yeah. Oof.
Poor guy.
That's a.
He's in hell. Right?
That's too far.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we're done. All right, let's get into it.
Oh man, yeah. Let's jump into it. So where should we start?
Well, I think we should start with your diagnosis.
Yeah, I have back in July of 24, I was diagnosed with AML in version 16. It's acute myeloid leukemia. It is an aggressive, rare blood cancer.
Leukemia is in general, correct?
Yeah. Well, leukemia, as far as rareness,
yeah,
it's real rare. And then as far as aggression, I think, AML is one of the more aggressive, By the way, we're not doctors. So some of the information we're giving here, this is just stuff we've learned.
Yes. And we do Google a lot.
We do a lot of Google.
Well, I Google a lot.
We're pretty knowledgeable. So, take it to the bank, tell your doctor. No. But I have leukemia. I have amongst the AML family, without getting too deep into it, it's an aggressive cancer as a whole. And then I am on the more favorable side of AML, which is the inversion 16.
By the way, it all sucks, though.
Yeah, there's no good way. But, if you had to get it, that this wouldn't, if you had to get AML, it's so the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, it's complicated. But if you had to get leukemia, you would want CML, not AML.
Well, that's what
they say. I've never had it.
Yeah, that's what the doctor said. But
it's very treatable, though.
We're not saying you should go out and get that, that people who have it
minimize. I'm not minimizing.
Yeah.
But my understanding is it is more treatable.
Yeah.
AML, as far as AML is concerned, mine is a favorable prognosis, which if you Google it, is still not. Don't Google it. But I don't want to. This may, while you see me maybe looking a bit more healthy than say somebody with FLT, mutation or something like that, who it's a little bit harder to fight. And my body's kind of feel like it responds pretty well.
Well, I think you're young, and that's why. Yeah, that you haven't had to do as many.
Yeah, leukemia sucks. It's not real common for people in my age bracket to get it. Although we've met a lot of people recently, it seems, that are in my age bracket or even younger to get it. But the average age is like, I want to say 65. I think it's 65, 70 is the average age of a leukemia patient. Or
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. And you get a lot of, young babies, tend to get, when I say babies, I mean, young children.
Yeah, with leukemia.
With leukemia in general, but as far as AML, it's an old people disease. So it's uncommon. I guess if you're going to get it, good time.
Yeah. So you have AML in version 16. For those who don't know, there's several subtypes of that and mutations, but Colton has in version 16. So I know a lot of people ask you, what were your symptoms prior? Do you want to kind of tell that story? Because it's actually we had the time of our lives right before.
Yeah. So we went to Alaska in end of June, early July, and spent 4th of July in Alaska. It was the coolest trip ever. And it was beautiful. We did a lot of exploring, deep sea fishing, hiking, and and the reason I say that is a lot of physical activity the whole time. And before I felt like I had maybe like some congestion for that time of year,
Yeah, and I think as a family, we were all still we had like some sinus issues going on, and yeah.
And so like I was dealing with like, congestion, but then like everything that comes along with that. And it was definitely more serious than like a light congestion, but I was just hitting it with like, well, I can't think of the name of the drug, but it was like
Sudafed.
No, the Lewises use it a lot. I wish I could think of it. I was hitting it with like allergy type medicine and decongestants and things of that nature.
Like Mucinex?
Mucinex. I was hitting Mucinex hard, and I felt like it was helping a little bit, but it was kind of rough for a minute. And because I remember specifically in Alaska, I had coughed one time, and then like it hurt my lower back.
You kept saying that, yes, I remember.
And I kind of fell down like to my knee a little bit. Granted, we doing a lot of hiking, fishing, and we were sun up to sundown, and the time change. I mean, we didn't sleep.
Well, sundown. The sun didn't really go down.
So I felt like,
For those of you who don't know, during the summer in Alaska, the sun stays up for like ever, which is super cool. But also, it really throws you off. You have to have an eye mask and blackout curtains.
And you have to like make yourself go to sleep. Like,
yes, because you'll just like your body's like the sun's out, stay awake. Yep. What are you doing?
That is true. I could see the insomnia factor there.
Yeah. But you were toughing it out. I knew you didn't feel good. Yeah. We were all recovering from sinus stuff. We were like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. We may never come back. Yeah. And you were toughing it out.
I thought it was a lot of the time change too, because like I remember on the way back feeling like I was, oh my God, this jet lag is killing me.
I knew on the way back, I could tell that you felt pretty bad.
Yeah. I felt pretty rough. But, again, I've had the flu, it was not like the flu. It was just like, I can't shake this. And then I can't remember when we noticed it, but my lymph nodes, that was kind of.
You actually, so I know you were at work.
I was like, kind of felt, I was just doing something like this, like, and then like, yeah, exactly. Something like that. And then in the back of my neck here, and then like, not my groin area, but like my lower stomach, below the belt line.
Yeah. I remember you text me and you're like, my lymph nodes feel swollen in my neck. And a lot of people say that. And I was kind of like, oh, I wonder if you're getting strep or your throat's
mono
swollen.
Is what.
Yeah. And so I was like, I wonder if you have mono.
That's what, if
have you
Google
ever
it,
had mono?
Yeah. You Google it. Like that's kind of like typical mono. And actually a lot of leukemia patients we met thought they had mono.
Yeah.
Or a few that I have talked to, they said, I thought I had mono. And so, yeah, well, fast forward, I'm back at work for, I don't know, a week, and I'm not getting any better. I'm actually feeling really bad. And then hindsight, I used to work out before work, so pretty early in the morning, but I was used to it. And I remember getting on the bench press and putting like a weight that I was used to, a little heavy, but what I was used to. And I was like, man, I only got like 3. That's so weird. Like, I'm tired. I'm sick. I was like, I need to go to the doctor. And then at work, I was like.
Colton never goes to the doctor ever for anything.
Well, I don't get that sick, really. It's not like anything over the counter can't, usually cure for me. I really hadn't gotten sick since I got COVID. If you think about it. And so, and that was like 2 days. I was, 2 days and I was back. But anyway, so we went to the doctor. Kind of fast forward, I remember at work, like guys like, hey, look, man, swollen lymph nodes, it's pretty serious. You need to go to the doctor. And I was like, okay.
I remember coming home and you sitting on the couch and you were touching your lymph nodes. And I was like,
they were pretty big.
You were nervous. I could tell you were worried. And I don't know if you'd already come across it. I've actually never asked you that.
No.
So I didn't know if you'd already come across it. But I don't know if you remember this, but you actually said,
it's not like I have cancer or something.
No, you were like, well, if I go to the doctor, what if they're going to be like, oh, I've got cancer or something? I was like, no, you don't. I'm telling you, it's mono or something. Like, don't stress about it. And
I do remember making a comment, like a cancer comment, and then kind of like, but hindsight, I went to a clinic, small clinic here that would see me. And I remember being so mad. I showed up at the clinic. I don't go to the doctor. I don't like paying copays and stuff like that. I went in there and they were out of network, and they said they were in network. And anybody who's dealt with insurance kind of knows. And they were like, that'll be, I don't remember what it was. It was like $150.
Yeah.
You know, it was a lot in my opinion, you know, and I was like, I'm about to leave. I'm just going to go back home. And I was just like, you know what? I'm here. I really feel bad. I'm going to pay it. Whatever. We paid. I paid it.
I actually could not believe that you went ahead and went to the appointment. I wasn't with him. So
I would normally have left.
Yeah.
And I went back. She tested me for everything, you know, strep, you know, flu, everything. Everything came back negative. And she's like, you know what? Your swollen lymph nodes are kind of, it's odd. You know, she wasn't alarmed or anything. She said, let's just take some blood. I was like, cool. They took a little bit of blood, and I went home. And I want to say, man, it was like 2 days later. It wasn't like immediate that she said, hey, and you could tell, you know, looking back, you could tell she was very nervous. She's like, you need to go to the hospital. I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, you know, your white cell count is extremely high. And she told me the number, and I don't remember. It was very high. And that was from when they took the blood 2 days prior. So she's like, your white cell count is extremely high. And honestly, I didn't know that was anything serious. I just assumed, you know, okay. Yeah.
Something we left out, though, is when we were in Alaska, Colton wore shorts one day because it got pretty warm and he got covered in mosquito bites.
That's right.
So when she called and said, your white cell count's really high, I'm not sure what's up, but you need to go to the hospital and get checked out further. I immediately was like, oh my God, he's got some weird, like,
yeah. Because I got bit by
disease,
like a swarm of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
It was like,
no, it was
hundreds.
like covered
like,
on your legs. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So, you know, you went to the emergency room and we're like, I don't know, look at his mosquito bites. This is weird.
Everybody
and they were all looking at your mosquito bites and really freaked out by how many mosquito bites you had.
And they were kind of like leaning, not saying anything, but that's kind of what we all thought.
They're like, man, this is so odd, crazy. Wow. I don't know what's up. And then
I felt like I got really sick. Like, okay, I remember being at home before we went to the hospital.
And you felt really bad.
Felt really bad, but you know, I'll be okay. Mm-hmm. And then I felt like when we got in the hospital, I don't know what it was.
We'll add a picture in.
Everything went really quickly downhill.
I have a picture. You were hungry, but you looked so bad. And I have a picture and you're still trying to be funny. And you just have like a gown like on top.
Well, they're making me do all kinds of stuff. They hadn't told us anything.
And you're like this and you're like being silly and you're like, oh, don't look at me. Like, because I have like a gown on. Yeah. And your face is like, looks like a strawberry.
It was red.
Yeah.
And but like they're making me pee in jugs. Like,
yeah,
you can't go to the bathroom. I have to pee in a jug.
And this is a very small hospital and emergency room. I mean, it's very tiny. Yeah.
So like I remember us kind of joking. I felt really bad and I was ready to get some answers. You know, they started giving me fluids and things that I thought, okay, this is going to help me feel better. And I
feel like you even made a joke and you were like, they think I've got cancer or something.
I've made a lot of cancer jokes not knowing.
Yeah.
And fast forward, the doctor came. It was very casual. You know, everybody.
The doctor, I think there were
three doctors.
Yeah, there were like three in the room, and all the nurses came in because now looking back, I feel like it was more like they were like, we don't see this. And
they were kind of freaked out.
And I think they were probably didn't know how we were going to react. Like, I'm sure that I know that there are people out there who probably just dropped to the floor and, you know, were like, what? And we just didn't believe them. So anyways, doctors came in. I want you to be able to tell your perspective.
Well, doctor came in. I mean, it was like she said, there was several doctors came in at the same time. And it was very quick and casual the way they gave the information. They're like, your white cell count is, can't remember what it was, but it was like quite a bit high. Yeah. It was quite a bit higher. 000. No, it was above that, I believe.
You think? Okay.
Yeah. Closer to like the 100,000 mark, I believe. Okay. But like whatever it was had jumped up maybe 50,000 since I'd gotten it.
Got you.
So it was like, we're snowballing.
Maybe
now.
I'm thinking about when you were at the clinic, like the blood
the clinic was like 75,000 and then we were like 100-ish thousand, I think. Okay. Don't quote me, but we're enough that it jumped so significantly. Everybody's freaked out. So they're like, hey, you know, this is your white cell count, you know, you're really sick. I'm like, okay, you know, and I'm thinking, well, you know, let's get to it. what is it? And I think I had to ask.
Well, no. They said, yes, so we're going to have to send you to a different hospital because we can't treat you here. And we were like, what do you mean? And you were kind of getting upset and you're like, oh, I'm ready to go home.
Specific though, like,
yeah, but
because they were beating around the bush.
Yeah. And you were like, I'm ready to go home. And they're like, look, we think you have leukemia or lymphoma. And we were like, I rolled my eyes. I was like, oh, like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking you're young, you're healthy. You've showed no, what I would think were signs, because you don't know that it happens so quickly.
It happens fast.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing with AML. It's so aggressive. It happens quickly. Right. And we didn't know that. So, before we're thinking leukemia, like you'll be sick for a long time and there'll be things you're ignoring. And it wasn't that way with you. This happened in a span of 7 days,
I remember thinking to myself, which one's the bad one? Like I do remember like that was
really,
which one's the bad one?
I had no idea. I thought like, oh, you mean between leukemia and lymphoma?
Yeah, I remember going,
oh yes, no,
because I didn't really, and I actually remember. I don't remember when, so I don't want to skip anything. But I remember when I did find out I had leukemia. I thought, oh, that's probably okay. Like I just didn't know, and that just shows the ignorance. Like we didn't believe them at all, though, when they said it. And I remember. Actually,
you were so mad. You were like, "Oh, I want to go home."
Yeah. They're like, "You're not going home." And even then, like for a while, this is for an extended period, but just right then, it's kind of where it started. Just not knowing the severity of. I'm kind of like, without being like too blunt, but I'm dying. Like, I'm really close to dying. Like right there, and I'm over here. Like,
I mean, I didn't believe. I was not gonna believe.
Yeah.
It until.
Because
there was a test and it diagnosed you and told you exactly what you had.
Well, and then we got, so the reason they had to move us is they don't have like an oncology section at the Olive Branch Methodist, is my understanding.
But we had no idea of that. Like they moved you so
told
quickly.
Me that. They said we don't have an oncologist on, and I was like, oh, okay. And then,
but like in our heads, we're not like thinking you're going to get chemo.
Well, what I guess what I'm getting at is they didn't have an oncologist, and then they said, we're just going to look and see where you can go. Mm-hmm. And then that's when Dr. Harris called us, reached out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then so I was like, so Dr. Harris is my current local oncologist. Shout out Dr. H. He's the man. I actually really like him. Mm-hmm. He's really cool. Everybody seems to like him, I guess. He's like popular. But he was like, man, I noticed it looks like you have pneumonia or pneumonitis. I was like, here we go. We're doing all this, like freaking out, and I've got pneumonia. And I think what he was trying to say is, hey, have they addressed the pneumonia? He's not discounting anything about, cancer. He's just kind of, but in my mind, I'm thinking, we're cool. Like
these idiots.
These are a bunch of idiots. Olive Branch is a bunch of hillbillies.
This oncologist in Memphis knows exactly what it is.
So there's no like moment right here, right now, where we're like accepting anything, and not even we're discounting it. So they bring the ambulance, and I'm kind of doing me, making jokes to the ambulance drivers, and
that's a funny story too.
Yeah, it was late. I don't remember the exact. It was late. It was like 1:00 in the morning or something like that.
1:30, 2 a.m.
And I don't know if anybody's ever had an ambulance drive, which, by the way, your insurance won't cover that. You should know that. That's a $2,000 ride. So say no if you can. I wish I would have. But they were like,
you couldn't have.
No, well, I would have tried.
They would have locked you down.
So they were like, the dude fell asleep on me. He's like, which at the time, I didn't have anything really hooked up to me, but it was just funny. He was kind of like sleeping on me, but
you were texting me.
Yeah. So we're laughing. I guess the point is we're kind of like making jokes here, and we got a group text with some of our friends, and I'm like taking pictures, and I'm like, look at me. I get an ambulance ride, and
how much is this going to cost me?
Yeah. And so we end up at Methodist downtown, which is Methodist University. And, they come in and do the blood test. And I'm trying to think, we hadn't had a biopsy at this point. No, just blood tests. And so they just took some more blood that morning. and just started running it. And, you're able to detect leukemia a couple different ways. One is in your blood, the peripheral blood. And that generally, if I'm not mistaken, if you can detect it in your peripheral blood, so just drawn blood, you have a pretty heavy dose, or it's not on a microscopic level, which is kind of what you want it to be.
And yours was at that
heavy,
point. Yeah.
Heavy. I want to say, man, I'm having a brain fart of the actual amount. It was high, like 70, 80% of leukemia in my body. Blasts were like 80%. And
they can actually just see those on the microscope.
Yeah. So it was quick. We're talking, next morning comes, we're joking around about, with the hospital food and everything. And I do remember we turned on a movie. I don't remember the movie, but we turned it on and Dr. Harris comes in. We're like, hey, man, like real perky. And he starts talking to us and we're kind of like, this is the worst timing, I would say, of any visit we've ever had.
Your dad was there? Yeah.
No, he wasn't there yet. Dr. Harris was talking to us. We're sitting there and he says, okay, we got the blood work back, and, anybody who's received any sort of news, they're pretty blunt, they just get right to it, and he was gentle as he could be, I suppose, but he's like, you have AML leukemia.
Well, he's like, you have leukemia, but I think they were still trying to detect what it was.
They didn't know it was AML until the biopsy, but he said, you have leukemia. We're for sure, but we're going to do a biopsy to confirm. And I swear, like right there, like as soon as he said that, my dad and my stepmom walk in, Jamie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was the, so like, this is probably the first time I remember being like, oh man, all right, this is serious. Like, it makes sense why I feel so bad. And I think for you, you're,
I don't think I got upset for a minute. I was just sitting there like, in my mind, I was like, well, I'm about to Google this and then get to it.
Wait.
Ready? I'm about to Google this and get to it. Yeah, I was just like, oh, whatever we got to do. I don't care. You tell me what it is and we're going to figure this out. It's kind of where I was at. And then your dad and Jamie walked in and the doctor was still in there.
He's like, well, I guess, he's like, who is this? And I was like, it's my dad and my stepmom. And he's like, you want to do this now? And I'm like, as good as time as any, and I remember having to be like,
and you felt so bad still.
I was sick.
It was horrible. Yeah. I can't explain to people. I was
Yeah.
I was looking at you like I really wasn't sure then. And, you laugh about it, but I think if you could, I know that you know how you felt because you felt so bad, but being on the outside watching you, I thought you were dying. And you were, but I was thinking, am I leaving this hospital without you?
I think there was a time
you're trying to just make it through, Survive. And then you get this news, and I think they started giving you steroids that day too.
So yeah, I'm not really, I would say like, I'm like, we're going downhill. So say here's rock bottom. I'm like here, I'm sorry. I'm like still functioning, but it's like, we're about to rapidly smack the bottom here. And then, cause I remember, going through that with Dad, and I remember thinking, you know what, I'm going to compartmentalize this and I'll process this when they leave because, it was a lot, Dad's freaking out. Jamie's crying, Dad's trying,
I remember
everybody's really
I remember
upset.
Jamie sat next to me and hugged me after the doctor left and she cried. And I remember I kind of leaned over and I got upset. What I felt like for like 15 seconds. And I remember just like something in my brain was like, you want the BP thing again?
Yeah.
Someone like, yeah. And get your together. And I was like, done. And I flipped it and that was it. I was like, I'm not crying again.
Because so right then, everything happened. Anybody who's got leukemia, I know we've kind of dragged some of this out, but it's going to happen quickly here. So now we know we have leukemia. It doesn't wait on anybody. So it's like, you're going to get a PICC line and we're going to start you on chemo like tomorrow.
Yeah. So I've got a picture of them doing the ultrasound, I guess. And they're checking your heart to get you ready for your PICC line.
That's right.
And then I think he comes in and confirms, right? Did he confirm?
Well, we did biopsy. So I was like not happy. So again, we're here. We get PICC line, which was a really bad experience. Mm-hmm. They didn't numb me. Anybody's had anything like that?
The lady forgot.
She forgot to numb me. It was horribly painful, but now I'm like here. So like I got over the pain pretty quickly. And there's only a few people that saw me rock bottom probably. Courtney, obviously. And I guess the Lewises.
My mother was actually at the emergency room with mom. You.
But I still think I was up here, but like I was like, because I remember I was sweating a lot, like to the point that it looked like I had just got out of a pool, but all the time.
Yeah. Like so it was like a cycle. Like you would start feeling bad, you would sweat, and I'd have to get a rag to wipe you down, and then you'd get cold.
Yep.
And then you would get hot. So I was like, I was like wiping you, warming you, cold rag, wiping you, warming you, cold rag.
Really?
I don't know if you remember, you'd be like, Courtney, it's happening again. It's starting again. And I just knew to get up, and whatever part of the cycle we were on, that's what I was doing.
Oh, it was bad. I could barely get out of the bed. I mean,
and we had no idea, but at the time you were at, I think that was considered ICU, right? Or step down.
I wasn't in ICU.
It was the step down.
I think so.
Yeah. It was the step down floor, and we had no idea. I hadn't even left the room.
Mm-mm.
I had not left the room. So I'm thinking we're just in a regular hospital room floor. I had no idea until 3 days later that we were even on that floor. I had not done anything.
No, we couldn't though. Like, because it was just, I was so sick. Yeah. I was like, everybody, and that's kind of why for us probably, and even, Matt and Destiny, and heck, even their kids saw me. I think my kids didn't even see me at that point. I remember things getting a little fuzzy after I saw them. So they came, they surprised us. They drove from Nashville like that day or the next day.
And it all happened that, boom, 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 but boom. Right. So they confirmed it was leukemia when they were there. So they were driving in.
That's right. And we just found out. And then it was just like, we told them.
So they just thought they're coming to see you and you're really sick, got some sort of weird mosquito infection. Yeah. They did not know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so I think I was the one that had to.
Oof, how'd that go?
We'll just save it.
It was bad because at that point I hit rock bottom. When the Lewises got there, I'm at rock bottom, whatever day that was. I just remember looking up and Matt was in there real quiet. He's like, man, I think he said something along the lines of, I don't know what to say. I'm just trying not to be emotional, I think is what he was saying. And Destiny she was wrecked. Because I remember she was like, she come give me a hug, but I was like, I'm sorry. I just remember saying, I'm really sweaty. And it was bad. Like to the point where it's like,
you're slippery.
I'm pulling. Yeah. And I just remember laying there and they brought me some things and that was really cool. But that was rock bottom. And they're probably one of the only, I'm trying to think, maybe one of the only people that saw me at that, that's where I would
Parents,
say dying.
Your dad, my mom.
Yeah. Well, they all kind of stayed away though for a bit because I want to say the Lewises were our last visitor
for a while
because we're like, I'm neutropenic, all these things.
We found out what that meant very quickly.
Yeah, we didn't.
But also we were very, at this point I'm Googling. So we were very cautious. I was like, oh no, this is what this means. Like I probably knew things before the doctors told us. And I know people say not to Google, but I wasn't on there like scrolling, like how many days until you die? Like I'm over there. What do I need to do? What can I do to keep you safe? What are the tips? What are this? And I'm Googling these things before they even come in and tell us. Google's not real
accurate. I think that anybody,
if you're talking about statistic wise, don't go off Google.
And that's
please.
For anything though. Like, and I feel like I can attest to this because if anybody's looked up diseases, not just cancer, not just AML, not just inversion 16, but we're talking just all the things we go through, which would be too hard to just tell. But, when you Google it, they're 10 years old. The statistics. We actually spoke with a doctor about this. One of them, he kind of enlightened me a bit, but they're like 10 years old already. And then they're not taking into account some of the age differences in me. Like we talked about earlier, it's like 65 years old, 70, 80 years old, people are getting it.
If you pull up like studies that they do, a lot of the times, like it's just a big lump sum of people grouped together.
That's right.
They can't break them down. All males, all females, this age, this, this mutation.
Dr.
This
Ball
subtype.
is the one who kind of said it the most clearly. He said, you can look it up and that is probably accurate for the time, but he's saying it's accurate as a group. He said AML is rare. So small groups of people get it. He said, and then to say specifically your mutation, your age group, your gender, how many people with a rare disease can we get of 35-year-old males with AML version 16? How many can we get to actually study? It's not very many. So he's like, so if you look at that, there's some truth to it, but he said you can't hold on to that. So
I think it's, if you want some basic information, it's great.
Yeah,
I was using it as a tool to prep and help
when
you
the
get through
terms
it.
were starting
I was
to get
not.
to us.
Yes, I wasn't using it as these are the statistics. Oh my gosh. And I'm sending it to people. Yeah. No, I'm looking up what's the chemotherapy they used.
Yeah.
And then when they would tell us, I would look that up so I knew. And then I started like when you pull things up, like you said, like the terms and things like that.
It helped us a lot.
It was, we didn't know what any of that meant. So they would say a word I didn't know and I would write it in notes. Yeah. And then I would Google it. And then,
it helped us like to understand better where I was at, where we were going. And so to get back on track though, like we found out I'm rock bottom. Long story short, we start chemo. We don't start chemo yet. They're wanting to get rid of this pneumonitis. It's killing me. Like I'm dying quite literally.
And they had started you on steroids.
My boy, so it felt like a month, but it's probably like within a week's time they tried different things.
Oh, it was like, it wasn't even that long. It was just like a couple days. It just felt like to you because you were in so much pain.
Yeah. No sleep. And so I cannot, what was his name? I don't want to butcher it because he was the coolest one of the coolest doctors to this date I've had.
We'll shout him out next.
Yeah,
time.
We will. But he
gave you Harry Potter socks.
He did. He started me on steroids, and the steroids almost immediately started making me feel better.
You started feeling better, and
yep.
It was just because I was nervous because I've had a bad reaction to like oral steroids, and so
these are way different.
Yeah, and then your nurse, Miss Caroline, was actually your nurse that day, and I remember being like, "Are these steroids gonna hurt him? Like, what is it? And they're like, "No, they're gonna help him. Trust us." And I'm like, "Okay," and they did.
But I felt like it was after that we were able to start the cancer journey. Like, obviously. So this starts my induction round. I got my first biopsy, which was absolute. Anybody who's had a bone marrow biopsy,
ouch.
Shout out because, it's so easy for people to go, "Ooh, I'm sure that sucks." No, it hurts. It hurts very bad. No matter what they give me Dilaudid before. Anybody knows anything about drugs? I don't get a lot of pain medicine, so these are really, working on me. They'd give me anything and everything, anxiety medicine, anything I wanted. They still hurt. There's no getting around it. It just hurts. And
yours was like it looks like a tire plug.
Yeah. So in your hip bone, without getting too far into it, they basically drill into your hip. The part that hurts is when they suck the marrow out, and then that's what they're testing.
But yours wasn't a drill.
It was not. It was like a tire plug kit is the best way to put it. So I feel like though, like mentally though, I was like, all right, I have cancer. But even then, I don't think it occurred to me because Courtney was pretty upset. There was finally she was able to like, okay, you're not going to die right now. Like you're alive and I'm pretty normal within reason. And we're able to process the whole thing. But like even then I just felt like I kept saying, we're going to get past this. And I still feel that way, but it was a little bit different. It's like, we're good. I'm going to do a little chemo. We'll be back at it. Matter of fact, I kept asking, when can I go back to work? When should I tell my job I'm coming back? Like questions like this, like the doctor's like, you could tell he was trying to ease it. Now looking back, he's like, Dr. Harris,
I know.
That's what he does. We always say that. Dr. Harris goes, we'll see. Let's see what the tests say. But, it wasn't really clicking to me that, like, my life has not only changed forever, but, like, forever. Like, buckle up, brother. You're about to go through the grind. And I didn't know it. Even, like, I remember, this is a 30-day process, just to kind of skip through some of it. You're doing induction. You're doing the chemo plan that they set for you. And for all my chemo people and maybe people who have leukemia, I did flag idarubicin for my induction, and then consolidation, I did HiDAC and flag go. Those are just kind of like my induction is like your first chemo. We're going to blast you with just heavy, heavy, heavy chemo and try to knock this, leukemia as far down, if not all the way down as possible. And you'll hear us talk about remission. All that's super complicated, but if you get lower than 5%, is my understanding, you are in a level of remission from leukemia. You're eligible for stem cell transplants. You're eligible for other, I guess, consolidation at that point.
Well, and it helps them, I think, gauge what direction are they going to go with your continued treatment plan, basically.
Because they kind of they thought maybe I got to 5%. Long story short, I got there without getting into the other stuff.
You got below, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I think I was like pretty much right. Remember, because they originally thought I was at 7 or 9%, and there was a mistake. So I think I was right at the remission line, and I started. So induction takes 30 days. You do the chemo, and then you have to wait it out in the hospital till your counts come back up, which usually is like 30 days.
Yeah.
And my stuff came back up. They send me home, and before they send me home, like the day before, they do a biopsy, another one. And for me, that's when I kind of, because the hospital wears on you.
Yeah, you were starting to, like, those last couple weeks, you were starting to, I felt like, get sad and antsy, and you were like, I've got to get out of here, or I'm going to go crazy.
You can't go anywhere. You can't leave the room. The room is probably the size of a small bedroom. It's not big.
It's the size of our closet.
Yeah, it's very small. So I was just going crazy, but not like about cancer, just about like, because in my mind, I'm like, I can get out of here, and then we can get started on my consolidation. And then, so, I got out, and I think that when I got home is when I really think, because I hadn't been around my kids much, maybe twice in a month. And I think that, seeing my life where I left it, and, I missed a lot of things, obviously. And then feeling the way I felt, not being able to go through my routine, it really started to bother me, like the cancer stuff, the mortality or, morality and, life and death, and like, hey man, not only did you almost die, but like, you're still dying, and you gotta stop, looking so far ahead and start like, realizing how serious everything is. And for me, I think, when I got home, that all that started to kind of sink in. I remember just being really anxious, like about everything, every phone call, the doctor calling and giving all that information. I think that's really for me when I'm like, hey man, you're really sick, and especially when we started talking about like consolidation and, it was that's when it, so consolidation, just quickly, is when you do your after your induction, you do consolidation, 4 rounds of chemo to see if we can get you in,
Well, that's just what you did. I think
some people do more or less, but I did 4 rounds, which is pretty standard. That was my understanding.
And they alternated between the 2 types of medicines, and
to see if chemo alone would cure you or get you to, cure is a weird word with leukemia, but if we could get you at no leukemia in your body to start seeing if it's going to come back or not.
And so, am I remembering correctly? So they said you were going to do 4 rounds of consolidation, and didn't that change to 6?
Yeah. And then then we ended up only doing 4.
Right. We ended up only doing 4 because they felt like
it was making me sick.
Yeah, you were starting to have super bad reactions. And what's odd is I do remember some people, you know, when you would, because you would have to go to the hospital for your chemo. I know some people have the outpatient stuff. You were having to go to the hospital for yours and actually stay there while you received it for a few days. Yeah. But I remember some people coming in and out of the room towards the end, and they were like, "Oh yeah, some people have these reactions. Like it's just part of the medicine." And I just remember not feeling right about it. Like I was like, something doesn't feel right. Like this doesn't feel like it did before. And like, I think you had even gotten a message from someone that was like, you know, the further you get into it, the harder it gets on your body. And something just didn't feel right with me that last round. Like I was like, something's off.
That was the cytarabine.
It's all like, cause I actually think that it does affect your brain.
Yeah.
And I felt like what you were experiencing, the things that you were experiencing, it was leading to that.
And like flu. It's like I had the flu, like immediately when they put it in my body.
But you know, you were starting to have like tremors.
Oh man, I was like,
nature.
Like not without being dramatic. I was like
you were
uncontrollably, shaking. You know, to the like as soon as they'd give it to me, and then like, so they give it to you, and it's pretty quick. I mean, 3 hours or something like that to give it, but you know, once it would kind of like wear down, I'd go back to kind of normal. Like at some point I would stop that and then it would start, you know, and we had to make a decision. So this is during consolidation.
High fevers as well.
So this is during the end of my consolidation. You know, Dr. Harris, thank God. I've had a few people probably save my life during that. You know, we'll talk about it. You know,
I mean, he acted very quickly. He was very cautious. I texted him and was like, I don't know if they've communicated with you, because there is a team of doctors and, you know, they do their, what is it? Rounds. Yeah.
You should know that.
And I just texted him that night, very late at night. And I was like, I don't know if they've communicated with you, but you know, something's not right. Like he's reacting much differently than he has before. His fevers are really high, and he showed up so early the next morning, got there before probably he saw anyone else came into your room, and he made the decision that you needed to
stop.
Yeah. And
like I ended up maybe finishing one more bag of that cytarabine.
Yeah. Because didn't he say there's like a fine line?
There's a fine line. So that is something that I think people should try to understand. If you get in, this is all a lot of information and confusing, but you do chemotherapy to keep the leukemia from killing you, right? That's what it is. You're trying to kill the leukemia, knock it really far down, if not completely away. And then, but in the process, I should say, that chemo can kill you. It can hurt you, right? So it's like if you're pushing a motor, you're pushing it, and like perfect, you're hitting that perfect sweet spot, but you can really easily push just a little bit too far. And, you know, being my age, being at my health at the time, you know, they were able to really push me. And, you know, some people are able to get all 6 rounds. I wasn't. And thank God that Dr. Harris realized.
And some people don't need 6 rounds. Some people need 4. It's very dependent. There's a lot of information we're not going to get into.
No. But, each person, though, my plan was 6 rounds, okay? And so my point is that people can look at me and go, well, Colton, just do another round of chemo, you know, for XYZ, or why wouldn't you just do a little chemo here and there and just do that for the rest of your life? And the truth is at some point, one of 2 things happens. The chemo hurts you to the point it kills you, right? Like you get an infection.
Because your bone marrow shuts down and
your bone marrow doesn't come back, or like when we say recover, it shuts your bone marrow down and then it restarts. That's what it does over and over, and that's how chemo works. But without getting too deep into that, the chemo can hurt you, or the chemo will stop working. So your body becomes a bit immune, or the cancer starts becoming a bit immune to that specific chemo.
Gets smarter, finds ways around.
That's right.
And that's another reason, if you ever and I think this goes for probably any cancer in general, a lot of people switch up their chemo regimens.
I've had
it's because they don't want the cancer to outsmart the regimen that they've been getting.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's just probably a really good place to start, you know, because there's so much we could get into with cancer and chemo. You know, for us, it's like it hits home, and it's interesting because we want to know as much as we can. But the truth is I can't do chemo forever because my body will either shut down or the leukemia will get smart. The other part is, which is where we're at now. At some point, we took that last biopsy and we were hoping, and honestly, we're almost convinced, even the doctor would probably admit, we thought that I was going to come back MRD negative, which is minimal residual disease negative, meaning there's on a molecular level, there's no cancer in your body that we can detect because technology can only detect so far. And that usually means you're on the track to potentially, being cancer-free forever, maybe. And I came back, without getting into the numbers, I had a very, very, very small amount of detectable leukemia, and actually went, so where I was in the biopsy before,
they anticipated you to go. Yeah, they anticipated him to go down again, but the biopsy, he went up just a smidge.
I mean, we're talking. Yeah, I couldn't even give you we're talking 100,000th. It was like very small amount.
But because leukemia is so aggressive, you have anything, any direction of increase,
change of plans,
right?
And so that's where, it was devastating to find.
And we did. I don't know if we said this, but with the type of AML that Colton has in version 16, typically they're able, or I would say typically, many cases, right? They're able to treat it with just chemo, and so stem cell was,
I think it's like 50-50. I think,
right? So a stem cell transplant wasn't really
we weren't
on
even
the radar yet.
It.
Yeah,
we kind of, because of that's my mentality. I'm like, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna get past this. We're gonna do the chemo, and then I was recovering really well. When I did recover, it's pretty quick, and I still exercised every day when I was home, without getting into I was in the hospital a lot. I had to get platelets and blood, and we can talk about that another time. But I was doing a lot of treatment. I was really sick, but I would bounce back and I would get back at it as quickly as possible. And so I was convinced, there's no way that somebody is going to die and they're, getting as quickly, recovered as I am. So, we were just blown away when he called and said, look, you're on the path to stem cell transplant. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, your biopsy came back this. And, and all he said was, I'm sorry, and because he knew kind of at that point, it was out of his hands. Obviously, he couldn't do anything for me, but now I'm about to have to move facilities. We're about to go, and it happened pretty.
But he didn't waste any time.
He was really great.
Yeah, he got you. He was like, go get this checked, go get that checked. Yep. Let's get ahead of the game. And I think we were like, hey, we've looked into Vanderbilt, and that's
where we want to go. Or I think I remember we had narrowed it down to Vanderbilt or MD Anderson. And then Vanderbilt for us because of how close it was. Mm-hmm. And both of those are great facilities, top notch. Obviously, MD Anderson's considered maybe number one, but Nashville for us felt like God kind of led us. But also, Dr. Harris said, I feel really good about you going to Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. He said, I think that's the place for you. And so we started taking steps there. Hindsight, we probably should have done some things, as far as donors, things of that nature. We probably should have started that a little sooner, but we just didn't know. We just didn't anticipate.
No, I think that Dr. Harris, I think at one point I don't want to obviously speak for him, but I think at one point he actually said he was surprised. I don't think any of us anticipated it, because even though at the end of your treatment, that last round of chemo, you were having a bad reaction, you had tolerated it so well, and your numbers, your testing was coming back so good every time, exactly where it was supposed to be. So it was definitely a shock.
Even my symptoms, though, I didn't just, my hair fell out and all that, and there's
chemostasy.
But there's a lot of symptoms that come along with it. I'm not going to say them because they're gross, but there's just a lot of side effects that you usually have. I had very minimum. And
what's gross? Are you talking about your mouth sores?
I didn't get crazy mouth. I did get mouth sores, but I didn't get wildly. amount, and I didn't
but
get.
we were all you were also really good about sitting on top of your.
Still though, diarrhea. I mean, throwing up. If I got any of that, it was brief, and it was minimum amount. Yeah. I don't want to minimize my journey because it was terrible, and I'm not even really gone through the terrible part yet. And I think that maybe we'll do an episode maybe on stem cell stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think for now that's been in a very quick abridged version of because we could talk 2 hours on.
The direction now is stem cell transplant. That's probably going to happen in very soon, probably, I would say, right? Next.
Yeah, I hope so.
But, they are searching for donors.
Yeah, plug. This is where we would.
Is this okay?
That. Yeah.
All right. So they are searching for a desirable donor still for Colton. I don't feel like anything about you always say, I don't feel like anything. About nothing's gone as we thought it would go, but and that was they're like, oh, you're gonna have plenty of donor options.
They said that I feel like if anybody's had an unexpectedly rough time, and maybe it's like this for everybody, but nothing has really gone the way people said it would.
And maybe they just wanted to ease you, but they were like, you're gonna have plenty of donors. Well, they're still looking for a desirable donor. Our boys actually got blood typing yesterday because their last resort options.
We got a couple pictures
of what?
Them getting their.
Oh yes, I'll do that. But it's so easy to save someone's life, and this isn't just for Colton. If you sign up, you could potentially be a match for Colton, but there are so many people out there. Waiting for their donor, and it's
currently 1,500 is what that do not have a donor.
There you go.
I think that is an accurate
number. And it's easy to join the registry. They send the kit to your house. You get to send it back. It's paid postage, so there's nothing out of your pocket but the time it takes you to open it, swab your mouth, and send it back.
Please
That's it. Walk to your mailbox and send it back. So it was formerly known as Be the Match.
Yes.
But now it's the National Bone Marrow. Is that right?
NMDP. That's all I know.
Okay. So the website is www.
We'll put the QR code and everything right here. This is specifically for me, but it's not. It just helps you join the registry.
They gave it to Colton, but it just takes you straight to the registry. Yeah, it's www.nmdp.org. And I will tell you, because people pull it up and they're like, I don't see anywhere. You have to scroll all the way to the bottom when the link comes up. You scroll all the way to the bottom and then you click your age. Yep. And the ages are 18 to 40. And they are what they're going to do is they're going to take stem cells from your blood. So if you've donated blood before, it's going to be similar. I think there are other ways to get it. We won't get into it because we're not doctors, and
we'll hit stem cells again.
Yeah. But I think people should definitely sign up, not just for you, but for anyone.
Yes. So it's
you're saving someone's life. It's never been simpler to be a hero. This is not like donating an organ. You're not giving up a piece of your body.
No.
It's
something
just
you generate.
Blood.
Yeah. So real quick, if you've given blood, they take it's very similar. People will try to make it seem more than it is. They take blood out of your body, run it through this machine, which pulls your stem cells out, and they put the blood back in. Just like giving platelets is a really good way of kind of describing it. They're going to give you some medication before to help you generate more blood, more stem cells, and things of that nature. But listen, it is so coming from someone who's super. I am right now. Today is what I think the 18th of April, Good Friday. I am super stressed out about my donor. I play it off. I laugh, and that's just who I am. But coming from somebody, I'm a white male who is supposed to have a plethora of donors, perfect donors. And I have none. I have not one perfect donor. It's very odd. For minorities, it's even harder. So I can only imagine them having to go through this. So my point here is it is so easy, one, just to get in, to swab your mouth. They do everything for you. They send you as she went through. But then even once you're called, and just I only know because they've called a few of my, they called one of my family members and stuff like that are kind of close matches. It's easy. They make it really easy for you to be
They pay for your food, travel, lodging. They will reimburse you for time missed at work, and you can bring a guest with you.
Yes, so
they make it as easy as possible for you.
But it's not that much time.
Yes, you are literally saving a life. If you've ever wanted to do anything good in your life, this is something you can do
easily.
And you may never get a call, but some people get multiple calls and save multiple lives. You're giving someone a second chance at life.
If I don't get a transplant, this is just the facts. This is Colton. This is anybody probably listening to our third podcast, knows me. If I don't get a transplant, I die. That's the facts. And that, it's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, especially knowing that, and even if I do get a transplant, I still might die.
There's a large percentage that, but we're not going to.
I'm not getting into that, but I want you to know how serious it is to be like, hey, look. Because a lot of people are like, how can we help you? Become a donor. Mm-hmm. You might not be my donor. You might be a 5-year-old's donor. You might be an 85-year-old's donor. I don't know, but you're still giving somebody an opportunity to live for their family. And that's how you can help me. You can help me by just giving me, I've had hundreds.
Would you say, oh yes, no, you've had hundreds of people share it.
Thank you.
Over 100 people sign up just because they've heard of you. People are still sharing it. We've still got things going on even this weekend. Yep. But other than that, how else could someone show up for you? Is there anything else?
I mean, obviously pray for me. And, if everybody called me all the time, I would be on the phone constantly. Mm-hmm. So, but, truth is I'll be going stem cell hopefully soon. And people have, I do have a GoFundMe page. And we can link that. I'm not one to ask for money, but I'm not working. We're coming up on a year. My family will be here being watched for by my mother-in-law. People have given food, brought food to them when I was in the hospital. And that would be cool again. It's just my kids seeing a familiar face. Yeah, you can tell they enjoy that interaction and they can feel that.
It makes them feel good that
people
feel like, oh, people love my dad and they
a
care
little
about
McDonald's,
him.
What I mean? $20, feed my family. And
what would you happen to have like any advice for, say, like friends or other people who have family members or friends that are going through something similar? What advice would you give them regarding that loved one?
I've been blown away by my, I didn't think that this many people would show me love, and so I guess just for someone going through it and someone who knows someone going through it, be light with them, but also understand that this is not something that they can just get away from. I don't think any cancer, and it's hard for people to understand and relate that, the heaviness that is constantly there. Even when I'm joking around, like that heaviness is still real for me. I feel like I have a full life to live, and why me? I feel like, I'm a pretty decent person. I eat well, and healthy as well. So I'm like, why me? Like, how in the world? Especially like when, I'm sure there's people that live an opposite life as me, but just be easy on them, and also people showing up for me has been amazing, with the food. And then also just with sharing posts and, even more so the people that have showed up for me on stem cell, it's really been enlightening for me.
Yeah.
And we could get into that a whole nother day, but it has been enlightening for me, the people, I've had people refuse that have a high likelihood of being a match for me, like family members, just to be specific, that say, good luck, man. I don't want any part of it. And that's, to me, is wild.
Or just like, refuse to be tested, or
there's just a lot of things that
don't understand the seriousness of
I'm
it,
dying.
or the gravity.
I am dying despite, everything that I may put off. I don't believe that's my end game. We don't believe that. I fully believe this will be my testimony and I'll push through this. But, in the meantime, I understand it's serious and it's real for people. And, even when they don't pretend like it, know they're still struggling.
Right.
A little bit somewhere.
Yeah. I would say,
keep your head up. Fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
Yeah.
And, it's not always going to be like this, Stay active, stay moving, Stay positive. Be mad. It's fine to be angry and upset, but don't let it consume you. I'm not going to let this define my life.
I think for us too, we just keep thinking, you know, even if the timeline has to change, we're like, what's going to happen? Like in a year from now, where are we going to be at?
We're always not, look forward to it.
Yeah. Like just imagine where you're going to be at in a year. We're going to be on a beach next summer.
We do. We do make plans. Heck, I always say this: cancer is now a part of my life forever. It will forever. Testing will always, but it will not define my life forever. You know, I won't be what defines me. And I've kind of held on to that mantra. This whole process is like, I'm not going to let people look at me. And it's not about what people see, but like that makes me feel good that people don't see a dying man when they see me. Like that's my goal. I don't want you to see that. You know, I mean, God forbid something bad happen. I don't want people to. That's not me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to live through this, and I'll make it. It's just I'm learning patience. You know, I'm learning. I have to, take. Nothing's guaranteed. You know, with any of this. You know, so yeah, keep your head up. That's all you can do. Smile.
Yeah.
Have a sunny day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a truth for me. But yeah, I mean, I think that's good. We hit it. I mean, if you have any questions about where I'm at or cancer in general, or I'd love to hear testimonies from other people.
We'll share this on social media. I think we're gonna
YouTube. It'll be on Spotify.
We're gonna drop a little box so we'd love to hear like more of what you'd like to know about and dive into, questions you have, anything.
We're going to get deeper into it. We have we have other people. We're going to have people on the podcast. Eventually, once we get it nailed
we have
down.
people in mind.
Yeah, we want to share their stories because I think my story is great. You know, like in my head, but man, there's some stories that are really powerful, and I'd love to share them. And
it's crazy. You always hear people say, "Oh, you don't know what you're capable of until you're."
It's a fact.
Until you're in it, and
people are capable.
But I already knew you were.
Oh, man. So, I appreciate it. I love you. Couldn't. We didn't get into it much, but Courtney, I couldn't have done it without you.
Well, let's not get into it because I don't want to cry.
Couldn't do it without
Appreciate
you.
that.
There's some nurses along the way that saved my life a few times.
I really want to have one of your nurses. All of them. I wish we could have them all.
I grew to love them, and
like seriously, they saw me when I hadn't bathed for 3 days and left the room, and same for Colton. And
shout out to the nurses that actually do a good job. We know it. We know a good one and a bad one. I'll judge you hard. I know it. I know.
And we also know the difference in those who maybe aren't as familiar with it, because there were times you had to go to different areas and they just they didn't deal with cancer patients, but they were nurses and they knew how to keep you alive, you know. And
I want to get more into all that. I really do. I don't. We've kept it a little over than we normally would, but this is where we're at. This is not what our podcast is about, but you will obviously be seeing a lot of my journey, and that's the point of this thing. But in the meantime, the most important thing is that I dominate you in Harry Potter trivia.
Okay,
it's 3-2, right? So let's.
No.
So get your questions ready. Let's see what we got. It's 3-2,
also
right?
I have a treat for you too. Something.
Do you?
On the tail end of it. So don't.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Let's go. Since we did long today, we'll do one question apiece. Should we do 2 or 1? No, let's do 2. Whatever. Okay. Let's see how well you do.
Yeah.
What is Severus Snape's Patronus? Ooh.
It's a
Think about it.
It's a lady deer, right? Or
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Good job.
It's
a doe.
Yeah. Okay.
A doe.
A lady deer.
A female deer.
Okay. Your turn. In Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hagrid receives a promotion at Hogwarts. What is his new role?
He's teaching. Magical creatures.
Very good.
I know. I'm killing it. Ooh.
We're doing another one.
Let's do another. I'm excited. Okay.
Yeah.
4-3, baby.
We do what we want. Yeah. If they don't want to listen to a podcast over an hour, they can make their own.
It's a long workout. Come on, you can do it. All right. What is the name of the shapeshifter that can appear in the likeness of a person's worst fear? That's tough, but
no. Boggart.
Yes, I think it's pronounced Bogart.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Good job. That's good. Well done. That's a tough one.
The Hogwarts Express departs from what platform?
9 3/4. Let's go. Hey, let's go.
We're both winners. I've got a treat.
Hey, it's 5-4. Don't minimize that. I'm still beating you.
Okay. I'm only going to do one today. We'll do another one the next day. But I'm pretty sure the same thing.
Hey.
See if the camera can see. I already opened the... should I just go ahead and get the other bag?
No, let's go. We can do one.
Okay.
It's a gummy.
I have not tried them. I just opened the top so you could get to it. I think it's like the gummy bears.
Okay, I was trying to see if there was a flavor. It just says Harry Potter.
The back.
The back. Mm-hmm. Okay, this one right here is cotton candy.
I want to try.
They're good. They're hard though. I'm kind of a soft gummy bear guy.
Mine's cola.
You could chew on this thing for like an hour.
Oh my goodness.
It's hard.
Now we're smacking in the microphone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to do that.
Maybe we should have done this earlier. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
What is it? ASMR?
Well, I know it's kind of I don't want to say sad, but it is a harsh reality where we're at.
Yeah.
But please pray for me. I really need it. We're going to go through one of the hardest journeys. It feels like we've already gone through it, but we're just getting started with stem cell. And, it's just it's going to be a tough road, but we're going to get through it. And if you just pray for me, don't be a donor if you can, even if it's not for me. But just think about me, think about Courtney, think about my kids. But yeah, I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. As far as life, to segue into it, when life is dark, hey, try to find a sunny day. But you know where you can come. Hey, we'll keep you sunny, right? But yeah, just smile and love people and love each other. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Oh, no.